Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the modern idea factory. You know, the engine of innovation that's tackling some of our world's absolute biggest problems. We're talking about the powerhouse known as the Research Center.
Just think for a second about the monumental challenges we face as a species. I mean, way up at the top of that list has to be finding new ways to fight and hopefully one day cure the diseases that affect millions of us.
And then, of course, there's the huge task of healing our planet. You know, figuring out sustainable energy and actually reversing the effects of climate change before it's too late. It's a massive undertaking.
But you know, it's not just about solving the problems we already have. It's about inventing what comes next, building the technologies that are literally going to define how we live, how we work, and how we connect with each other in the future.
So all of these are enormous, incredibly complex challenges, right? It kind of makes you wonder, where do we even start? Where do the answers to these huge questions actually begin?
Well, the answer, more often than not, begins right here. It starts inside the Modern Research Center. This is our collective engine for discovery.
So what exactly is a modern research center? Well, it's so much more than just a building with a bunch of labs. Think of it as this dynamic, collaborative hub where experts from totally different fields, we're talking biologists, computer scientists, maybe even ethicists, all come together. And they've got this dual mission: solve today's toughest problems and, at the same time, train the very people who will solve tomorrow's.
Okay, so what's the modern part all about? It isn't just about having the latest gear. It's really a whole new mindset. It's about getting people from different fields to work together, it's about smart partnerships between universities and private companies, and it's about having a laser-like focus on solving those grand challenges, all while mentoring the next wave of brilliant minds.
All right, so we know what they are and kind of what makes them tick. But how do they actually turn a big, intimidating question into a world-changing answer? Let's take a look inside the actual process. The path to a real breakthrough pretty much always follows this kind of pattern. It all kicks off with a really daring what-if question. Then you assemble a diverse team because you need all kinds of perspectives for big problems. Next comes this long, grueling cycle of experimentation where, and this is key, failure isn't just an option, it is an absolutely essential part of learning. And then finally, after who knows how many attempts, you get it, the breakthrough insight, the one that changes everything.
And this is where it all gets real. See, this whole process isn't just some abstract academic exercise. The work that's happening on these lab benches has a direct, tangible, and honestly a profound impact on all of our lives.
I mean, just take messenger RNA, or mRNA. For decades, it was a pretty obscure little corner of science. But all that patient, foundational research meant that when the world was suddenly faced with a pandemic, it became the absolute key to developing life-saving vaccines in record time. That's the journey, right there, from the lab bench straight into our arms. And these things often take a very, very long time. Think about that little blue dot on your phone. GPS actually started way back in the 1970s as a military research project. It took more than 20 years of hard work before it was fully up and running for the rest of us. And today it's so woven into our lives we can barely imagine getting by without it. Which naturally brings us to the future. If these centers help shape the world we're living in right now, what are they building for us tomorrow?
This quote by Alan Kay just perfectly captures the whole spirit of a modern research center. They're not just sitting around trying to guess what's coming next. No way. They are on the front lines, actively inventing it. So what's on the workbench right now? We're talking about researchers figuring out how to develop ethical AI, pioneering brand new sources of clean energy, creating medicine that's tailored to your individual DNA, and even paving the way for us to explore deep space. Incredible stuff.
So I'll leave you with this thought. Right now, at this very moment, in a lab somewhere, there's a team working on an idea that probably sounds like pure science fiction today. But because of the work being done in these idea factories, one day, it'll just be life. The question is, what breakthrough do you think is going to be next?